Hi everyone, welcome back to Eleganza TV. I'm Eunice and today I'll be showing you all how to sew this trendy crisscross ruche mesh top. This style was requested by a subscriber, so I'm excited to share the process with you. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more tutorials. Now let's get started. So to make this top, I made use of 2 yards of mesh fabric. The mesh fabric is a soft kind of net that is skin friendly. So it stretches on both sides as well. Then for the lining, I made use of a polo lining. I have 1 yard here, but I will not be making use of all of it. So when we get to the sewing part, you see what I mean. So I'll keep this one aside now. Let's move on to drafting the pattern. So we're going to be starting with a normal basic bodice top. So I went ahead to rule a straight line on the top of my pattern like this. So from the starting line, I'm going to take my necessary measurements. I have my measurements written down. First of all, I'll mark my half length of 17 inches. Then for the top length, I'll make it 24 inches, which is exactly what I have on my pattern. So after marking the point, I'll use my straight ruler to connect to form a straight line. So I folded my pattern into two because we'll be doing a slash and spread for the front part to get the pleated design. Then after doing that, I went ahead to measure my shoulder divided by 2 on the starting line, and then I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. And then on the folded part of the pattern, I measured in 3.5 inches for my neck wideness. Then after doing that, I'll just be connecting to my shoulder slant like this. So guys, so as not to waste a lot of pattern paper, I'll be drafting the back first of all, then I'll use the same pattern to do for the front. So I came down by 1.5 inch for my neck depth for the back. Then I connected to the neck wideness like this. Then the next thing I went ahead to do was to mark my arm cycle length. Starting from my shoulder slant, I came down by 8 inches. And then I ruled a line on that point. So having done that, I'll also be marking my shoulder divided by 2 on that arm cycle length. Then I connected to my shoulder slant to form a straight line. Then after doing that, you're going to get the midpoint of the armhole length. And then after marking the midpoint, you come in by 0.5 inch. And then on the arm cycle length, I measured my bust divided by 4. Then having done that, I'll use my curved ruler to connect the 3 points to form my armhole curve. So guys, before moving forward, I'll just be labeling the lines, my chest line, my half length, and my top length. Then having done that now, I'll be taking all my body measurements. So I've gone ahead to mark the bust measurements. Then on the half length, I'll take my round waist measurement divided by 4. So I'm not going to be putting a dart, so there's no need to add that allowance. So having done that, I connected from my half length to my bust line like this. Then for the top length, you're going to measure the roundness of where your top is going to be, which is the lower waist for me. So after measuring, I'll divide whatever I have into 4. So after doing that, I'll use my ruler to connect from the half length to the point on the top length. So guys, before going ahead to cut, because I'm making use of a mesh fabric which is very stretchy, I went in by half an inch from my actual measurement. If you want it to be like a free top, then you don't need to do this. But if you want it to be fitted, just like the way my own turn out, then you can go in just like you see me doing by half an inch. Then after doing that, on the top length, I went up by 0.5 inch and then I connected to form a curve. So guys, this is basically it. So I'll be cutting out the pattern like this. I'll follow the line, and then after cutting, I'll be placing on my mesh fabric to cut out the back. You're also going to fold your fabric into two. So guys, after cutting the pattern like this, I brought the mesh fabric to show you how you're going to place it. So like I said before, the mesh stretches on both sides, but there is a part that stretches more, and the part that stretches and bounces back is going to be for the length. Then the one that stretches a lot is going to be for the body, which is horizontally. So right now I've gone ahead to place the pattern on the fabric and I cut exactly as the pattern shape, okay? I did not add any allowance to any part. This is the way I want it to be. So since the fabric stretches, I did not add allowance to the length. So then moving on to the front, you're going to get another pattern paper folded into two and then place your drafted pattern on top of it. So I'll be cutting the same shape on the other pattern paper, okay? So guys, the style is a crisscross. It's like an overlapping, it has like an overlapping front. So that's the reason why I need to cut another one of it. So guys, as you can see, I've gone ahead to cut out the both patterns for the front. So I'll be showing you how to do the slash and spread on the pattern paper, and we're going to be taking this step by step so we don't get confused. So for the first pattern paper, I came down by 1 inch after the armhole, and then I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect to the neck wideness like this. So after connecting the line, I'll be cutting directly on it. So guys, after cutting the shape, you're going to place your pattern front side facing each other and cut out the same shape on the other pattern paper. So after cutting, I turn it over to the front and this is what I have it looking like. So guys, next thing I'm going to do is to cut the length short for the inner pattern. The one that is going to be on the inside is not going to get to the end of the top length. So I just came down by 3 inches and then I'll use my ruler to connect to the other side and cut it out. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to do the slash and spread for the pattern. We are going to be starting with the pattern that gets to the end of the top length. So first thing I'm going to do is to measure my shoulder. Whatever I have on my shoulder, I will split it into 3. So I just came in by 1.5 inch. And then after doing that, you're going to use your curved ruler to connect to the side part. So there is no specific measurement for this. You can just do whatever you want. So guys, I'm just going to use the picture as a guide. As you can see on the picture, there are some pleats on the armhole area. So the slash and spread is going to get to the armhole. So I just went ahead to rule some lines on my armhole towards the side part of the other side, as you can see me doing. So after ruling all the lines from the shoulder to the armhole, I just came down to the bottom to rule one more line to do my slash and spread. So this is how yours should look like when you're done. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Okay, I'm going to mark it the same way I did. Measure what you have on your shoulder and divide it into 3 equal parts. Then you're going to use your curved ruler to connect from each point on your shoulder to the side parts. So I did the same thing for the armhole. I connected some lines from the armhole to the other side of the pattern. So because of the fact that this other pattern is shorter, this is where I'm going to stop for the slash and spread lines. Okay, so in case you want to put a lining on the front part of your mesh top, you're going to start your lining from the armhole area. You can come down by 1 inch from the armhole all the way to the top length for the lining, but I'm not going to be putting a lining on the front part. So because of the fact that I am doubling the mesh on the front, it is going to cover very well, so I don't need to put any lining at all. So right now I've gone ahead to label all the lines that I have so that when I slash and spread it, it will be easy for me to place on my fabric. So we're starting with this shorter part first. So I went ahead to cut the lines just like you see me doing all the way to the shoulder. We are going to be separating it, okay? We're going to cut it openly because we'll be pleating the shoulder and the armhole. And then when you want to spread on your fabric, you can use like 2 inches spacing for each of the lines. So guys, you can see the way I spread my pattern on my fabric. Note that the fabric is not on fold. I open it to slash and spread it like this. Then for the spacing, I made use of 2 inches for the spacing. So guys, after cutting, this is what I have it looking like. For the neck area, I came up by 2 inches to 3 inches, which is going to serve as a facing. So you can either do a facing or you can just fold it or bias the neckline depending on what you want. So I'm just going to fold it in like you see me doing, okay? Before going ahead to pleat my shoulder and my armhole and the side part. And then you will notice that I did not add any sewing allowance on any parts of the fabric. I did not add any sewing allowance at all because the fabric is stretchy. It stretches on the length and also horizontally, so there is no need to add any sewing allowance except you want to.
So guys, for this other one, you can see that I spread it just like the way I spread the other ones, but the only difference is for this part that I spread only on the other side. I didn't want the pleating to be on this side. Okay, but you can still choose to do it the way you want. But this is how it looks like. This is how yours should look like.
So I've gone ahead to cut this part. As you know, you're going to place your pattern on the front of your mesh fabric like this, okay? Then after doing that, you're going to cut your facing for the neckline if you want it facing, or you can fold it or bias it depending on what you want. So guys, for the back part, I went ahead to cut my lining for the back. Like I said, I'm going to be fixing the lining for just the back. So before I begin sewing, I measured what I have on the armhole on the back because we're going to be pleating the front armhole. So we need it to be equal with the back armhole. So I had 9 inches. I'll just keep that in mind. And then next, I notched my facing, where my facing is starting from. I notched it so that I would know where the shoulder is going to be. So guys, I'll take out all the patterns for the front so we'll not be confused on what is going on. So the first thing that I would do is to fold the facing of the neckline and hem it. So you can insert a hemming gum on the inside to iron to make it relaxed, or you can fold it and top stitch on it. So having done that, I turned the neckline for the back using the lining, and after doing that, I top stitched the lining to the mesh fabric to make it one piece. Before going ahead to stitch the front, I'll first of all trim half an inch from both sides of the front. I did the same thing for the back because I want the top to hug my body very well. But if you want it to be like a free top, then you don't need to trim any excess from it. Just maintain your body measurements. So after doing that, I'll show you how to stitch the top now. So I brought the back part, and what I'm going to do first of all is place the front side facing front side of the front and the back, and then I'm going to trim the shoulder to make it straight, okay? Then after doing that for the shoulder, I place the end of the shoulder, which is to the armhole, and I pin it to the back. And I did the same thing for the start of the shoulder, which is to the neckline. Then the excess that I have on the front shoulder, I'm going to pleat it towards the back shoulder like this. So guys, after doing that for the shoulder, I'll take it over to my sewing machine and stitch it down with half an inch later. Then for the side part, you're going to pin the armhole, the end of the armhole to the back. And then after doing that, the excess that you have at the front, you're going to pleat it. So because the armhole is not going to be closed, okay, I'm not pinning it together with the back armhole. I'm just using the back armhole as a guide to pleat the front armhole. So after pleating it, I'll be measuring it to make sure that it is the same with the back armhole. So after pleating, before I go ahead to join the side, I will top stitch on the front armhole only, okay? So guys, after joining the shoulder for one side, I'll do the same thing for the other side. So I first of all join the shorter part of the front. Now I'm going to place the longer part of the front towards the back, front side facing each other. First of all, I'll trim the shoulder to be straight just like I did before. And then after doing that, I will pin the both ends of the shoulder to the back. And then after pinning the both ends, I will pleat the excess to the back shoulder. So after you're done with the shoulder, you're going to place the end of the armhole to the back like this and then pin. Then after pinning it, you pleat the excess that you have to match up with the back armhole. So guys, after pleating it, this is what I have it looking like. Like I said, I will first of all join the shoulder with half an inch. Then after doing that, I will top stitch on the pleated armhole. So guys, after joining the shoulder and pleating the armhole, I will place the longer part of the front first of all. I'll place it front side, facing front side to the back. Then I'm going to pin the both ends of the hem line. So guys, after pinning the bottom like this, for the asymmetric part on the top, I will come down by 1 inch from my back armhole. Then that is where the neckline is going to be on the side parts. So after pinning that part, on the other end, I will pin the armhole to be equal with the back. And then after pinning it, I will go ahead to place the excess that I have on the side. So you're just going to make it equal with the back. If there is any excess, then just pleat it and use your pin to hold it down. So then for the other side, after pinning the top and the bottom, I'll go ahead to pleat the excess that I have on the front to the back. So as I'm pleating, I'll be using my pin to hold it down. So you're going to pleat it very tiny, just pleat a little bit and use your pin to hold it down so that the pleat will spread evenly to the down part. So guys, after pleating, I'll take it over to my sewing machine and stitch the side with 1/2 inch. So at this point, I've gone ahead to stitch the side. Now we're going to place the other side of the front, which is a shorter length. So I first of all place the armhole to be equal with the back. And then as you can see that it is shorter, then I also went ahead to fold the bottom. I fold the bottom to be neat. So then after I've pinned one side to the bottom, I will do the same thing for the other side. First of all, I'll come down by 1 inch from the armhole on the other side, then place the asymmetric neckline to it. Then after doing that, for the length, I'll measure the space that I have on one side. So I have 3 inches. Then I'm going to measure the same 3 inches on this other part, just like you see me doing, okay? Then I will go ahead to pin it where it stops. Then after doing that, the excess that you have there, you're going to pleat it evenly. So I'll be doing tiny pleats so that the pleats will spread to the bottom. So guys, after doing that, this is what I have it looking like. So I'll take it over to my sewing machine and stitch on the initial stitch of 1/2 inch. So guys, this is what I have it looking like now. For the neckline, I went ahead to top stitch the facing. So I used hemming gum before, but the hemming gum did not lap very well, so I had to remove it and then I top stitch it. So you can do that as well. And then for the hem line, I folded 1/2 inch inward to make it neat. So now after we're done with the top, we're going to move on to the sleeve. So for the sleeve, we're going to be drafting a normal sleeve pattern first. So I measured the length on my pattern paper to be 22 inches and I measured the elbow length, which is 11 inches. Then after doing that, I ruled a straight line on both points like so. So after doing that, you're going to get this calculation. Divide your bust measurement by 12 and whatever you have is going to be your cap height. So I had 3.5 inches after doing the calculation and then I ruled a straight line on that point. Then the next thing I did was to measure my round armhole on the cap height. So my round armhole divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I measured 8 inches. Then on the starting line, I came in by 2 inches. And then you can see the way I drew the curve of the sleeve. So I'm going to take in 1/2 inch from all the measurements I take for the sleeve because I want the sleeve to up very well. Then on the elbow length, I measured the roundness of my elbow into 2 and then I came in by 1/2 inch. If you want the sleeve to be a free sleeve, then you don't need to go in by 1/2 inch. Then after doing that, for the bottom hand, I measured the bottom hand where the sleeve is going to end and divide it into 2. Then I came in by 1/2 inch. Then after doing that, I connected the points together. So this is my normal basic sleeve. So next, I went ahead to cut on the line for the sleeve pattern. So next, I had this remaining fabric left for my mesh. Like I said, I made use of 2 yards. So this is what was left after cutting the main bodice. So the next thing I did was to fold it into 4 pieces like so. And then I placed my sleeve pattern on it. So I placed the sleeve length on the folded part of the fabric. Then on the top, I came down by 2 inches before the start of the sleeve. Then after doing that, I will just pin the sleeve pattern to the mesh fabric. So guys, after doing that, if you look at the style, there is some kind of pleat on the sleeve. So this is the reason why I came up by 2 inches. Then after doing that, I just went ahead to curve following the shape to the end of the sleeve. Then I notched the middle part. So then after doing that, while cutting the side part, I added 1/2 inch to it. So this is going to be for my sewing allowance. So guys, if you have more fabric, it will be better because I had to manage what I have for my sleeve. You can see that the sleeve has a lot of gathers. So what I needed was 10 inches for the gathers and then an extra 5 inch for the flare shape on the bottom of the sleeve. So meaning I needed about 15 inches length to complete it, but I did not have that. So I just had to manage what I have So you can see the way I cut. Then after doing that, I just curved the bottom with half an inch. So next I'll be showing you how to stitch the sleeve. So if you have any question or if there's any parts that you don't understand, just drop your question in the comment section. Then next thing I did was to measure 4 inches upwards, and then I notched that point. So that's where my slit opening is going to be for the sleeve. So after doing that, I kept one sleeve aside, and I'll show you how to do it with one and do the other one off camera. So first thing I did was to place the notched point on the bottom of the sleeve pattern, and I used my pin to hold it. Then I took the top of the sleeve and I pin it to the side part just like you see me doing. And then I'll fold the other side and pin it the same way. So after doing that, for the remaining sides, I'll pleat the excess that I have there to be equal with the length of the pattern. So I will start pleating from the bottom. I'll do some tiny pleats so that the pleating will spread evenly to the top. So guys, after plating, this is what I have it looking like. You can see that it is equal with the side part of the sleeve. Then the next thing I went ahead to do was to take out my pins from the both ends of the sleeve, and then after doing that, I will take it over to my sewing machine and stitch with half an inch. So guys, you can see that the pleat is not that much because my fabric was not much. Okay, then after doing that, what I'll be doing next is to hem the slit on the bottom. You can choose to leave it like that or you can hem it. Then the next thing I'll be doing now is to fix my sleeve to the armhole of the dress. So I'm going to place the seam line of the sleeve to the seam line of the top on the side, and then just use my pin to hold it. Then the middle part of the sleeve that I notched, I will place it to the shoulder and then pin it. Then after doing that, I will turn it to the inside. So after turning it to the inside, I will go ahead to pleat the remaining excess around the armhole. So I'll just go ahead to pleat it around the armhole to be equal. Then after doing that, I will take it over to my sewing machine and stitch. So after fixing the sleeve on one side, I will do the same thing on the other side of camera. So guys, after fixing the both sleeves, this is what I have it looking like. Now you can go ahead to hem the bottom of the sleeve or you can leave it like that. So if you find this video helpful, do well to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next one.